Did Hillary Clinton and her staff intentionally obstruct justice, destroying evidence in the middle of an investigation? And did the FBI know about it and ignore it? Bureau notes reveals an IT staffer deleted Clinton's email archives after a Benghazi committee ordered for all emails to be preserved. The head of the House Oversight Committee says Congress will investigate.
I don't think Hillary Clinton gets it. The fact of the matter is they did not look at this, and the House of Representatives, also a branch of government, also gets to look into this. Of course we're going to do hearings. We're going to get to the truth of this.
A former FBI assistant director takes great issue with how Director James Comey handled the Clinton probe. He thinks Comey gave the secretary a big pass.
The FBI director is playing politics. The FBI director does not take the most famous, the best law enforcement agency in the world and politicize it by letting thing out, you know, Labor Day weekend. I mean, I just think that's the worst thing he could do. Should be absolutely ashamed of himself. And this interview, why wasn't it recorded? Why wasn't there a transcript? Why wasn't she under oath?
Why? And there could be more stunning developments soon on Clinton's emails. WikiLeaks is threatening a document dump, and it could be a September surprise.
The first batch is reasonably soon. We're quite confident about it now. We might put out some teasers as I don't want to promise anything because you have to see how the formatting goes, but we might put out some teasers as early as the next week or the week after.
All right, Dana, so the story not going away. It started out with just casting a whole pall on the FBI with this document dump on Friday. You heard the comments there from the Kelly file from last night saying this was inappropriate. This is essentially putting shame on the FBI, which is the world's most famous investigatory agency. And now we have that followed up with the fact that there may start to be a bit of leaks of documents coming sooner than we anticipated.
Well, I'd like to be on record saying I do not support encouraging Julian Assange to release more American secrets. I think if the Hillary Clinton should be more transparent. The FBI should not have done this on the weekend. I think that the FBI should release the entire file. Just release the entire file, and because it's going to drip out. And instead of allowing all of this speculation, you would imagine that James Comey, who I think really cares about his integrity and his position and his reputation, probably regrets, I would hope, regrets doing this on a Friday. I'm sure maybe the PR people talked him into it. They're like, oh, it'll be fine. It's not fine, and this is not going to end for a while. But I do not think that in any way that the Americans should be relying on Julian Assange, who released documents that led to the several, well, not several, but we certainly know that at least one or two people who were covert operators who ended up with their lives lost because of these types of leaks. So I'm not for encouraging that, but I am for a lot more transparency. I don't see how Hillary Clinton gets away with all of this, especially the 13 different devices. That, to me, after she said, I used one device for convenience. And we've known that hasn't been true for a while because we knew about the iPad and a couple of other things, but 13 devices, and they destroy them with a hammer. Yeah. I mean, come on, there's a lot more there. Plus, I think that the chronology is very curious. So she keeps the emails for a long time. Then the Department of State asks for some of them back, asks for them back. She gives some of them back. Then the stories hit that the server's out there. So then, all of a sudden, the emails that she returns to state, it's not a complete list. And we find out later that the rest of them were deleted by BleachBit. I don't see how they try to clean that up. I know that the Clinton campaign is going to want everyone to move on. I just don't know how we move on until the FBI releases its entire file.
All right, Eric, so there's a lot of problems here with it. There's the destruction of evidence, the 13 devices, the, let's call it, loose relationship with the truth, saying one device was used, 13 were used, and now, you know, this constant kind of drip of information, of emails, showing a total disregard for the policies, the procedures, and then unfortunately we don't have the transparency because they didn't do a recording of the interview with Hillary Clinton, and from the notes we know, as you mentioned yesterday, there was very little pushback or cross-examination to like track down and lock down the details.
Yeah, what if she thought C was ABC in a line of alphabeticals where were A and B,
yeah,
that was never asked.
Or D.
Also today, I think Jason Chaffetz, Congressman, said that he believes that they were buying these devices, used devices on eBay. So that's why another reason why he wants to reopen the investigation. Used devices, BlackBerries on eBay.
You can't get them. I tried one time.
You can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's insane how poorly this whole thing was managed. And as Dana obviously rightly points out, that yeah, we keep the harder you push, the more emails you find. Now, the FBI found 13,000 more emails that Hillary Clinton said weren't ever there, but apparently they were. But again, that still doesn't, I guess we'll never find the 33,000 emails. And the point being made is, if the only way you can get it is through an Assange leak or some of these things that Assange says, literally says she knew about C stood for classified or confidential because she used it several times, and he has proof of that, you may start to see it. The point is, who is Hillary Clinton? You're finding out who Hillary Clinton is someone willing to lie to the American people.
Right.
Apparently she's now willing to lie if Assange is being straightforward, willing to lie to the FBI as well. She has always believed, the Clintons have always believed they're above the law, and this is tying up exactly who the Clintons are. So before you vote, you want to know who you're going to vote for. And lastly, I'll just point out that if you destroy 33,000, destroy them. Not keep them, not hold them with your lawyer, not wait until they get subpoenaed. If you destroy them, you're destroying evidence. There's no question about it. If you or I did that, Kimberly, if the IRS wanted some details of some transaction we did, we would be going to jail if we said, in advance of that investigation, I'm sorry, I destroyed the documents. Right. But we're too small. When it's bigger and bigger and massive and have global implications as a presidency would, apparently it's okay.
Yeah, it sounds, Juan, like should be a character in The Sopranos because they use the bleach, they use the hammer to clean up the crime scene. I mean, great lengths by the Secretary of State and her staff to avoid turning over evidence that they knew was potentially needed to further an investigation. I mean, that's pretty outrageous from a prosecutor standpoint.
Well, sure, it's interesting to listen because I'm still waiting for there to be evidence of a crime. I mean, the FBI says there's no evidence of any crime, but you guys are upset about the weekend release. You think that the guy who was working for the server
real people
company,
in the world, Juan, destroying evidence is a crime.
Didn't destroy. If she destroyed evidence, there would be a charge. There's no such charge. What we see here, look, I've had politicians say to me, "Get off my butt! All you are is a muckraker." There's no muckraking going on here. All you guys are doing is complaining about when this was released. Why didn't the FBI be more aggressive with her? You guys are throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks. Nothing is sticking. This is more Benghazi, more email. This is just feeding Hillary's thing that, you know what, these people are insatiable. They just want to bring me down. So what we get is Jason Chaffetz now is a political arm using Congress as a political arm of the Trump campaign. That's what's going on here.
All right, Juan, we see so clearly now that you explained that all. All right, Greg, so what do you think? This is something that's going to be significant, that's going to continue to daunt her?
Even if it's not just about that laws are broken, it's that in this era of cyber terror, these things actually matter. To have somebody who is so ignorant about technology. I mean, she thinks that hammering your BlackBerry destroys information. That's like smashing your clock to freeze time. It doesn't work that way. Thank God she didn't use carrier pigeons. She would have strangled them with her bare hands.
Tina would have been mad.
Yeah, it would have been dead. And also the idea of releasing bad news before a holiday. Yeah, it's not illegal, but it's insulting to the American people, and it's obviously an evasive strategy, and it doesn't work in any other part of society. A doctor is not going to wait until Christmas Eve to tell you that you have cancer. That is not what you do in real life. And yet, somehow in politics and in media, they think that we're so stupid that if you do it before Labor Day, we'll just magically forget about everything, and on Tuesday, everything will be different. It may not be illegal, but it's shameless, it's cynical, it's disgusting, it's wrong. What also is wrong is relying on Julian Assange. 6 years ago, conservatives were calling for his head, for his arrest, for the government to do something about WikiLeaks, and now they're cheering him on because why? He's trying to manipulate the election to hurt the Democrats. But what if the shoe were on the other foot? What if Assange actually had Trump's medical records or had Trump's tax returns? Do you think that there would be conservative leaders sitting there cheering him on? No. I think not.
No, I would hope so. I mean, I hope it would go both ways. If there's information that the public should know about candidates, they should get it out. By the way, James Comey says, released a statement saying, defending his timing of the release, saying that we don't, quote, we don't play games, the FBI, maybe the FBI investigators don't play games, but the timing of the release certainly feels
the
like
PR
a
department.
gameplay.
Well, this is
Yeah.
in a memo to the staff and saying that also that he felt that this wasn't a prosecutable case, so this was just coming in as well.
Well, the other thing I was going to add to that in terms of the timing is I think that it's also very old school thinking. I don't think that waiting to release things on a Friday works anymore anyway, mostly because people generally, I think 60 or even up to 70% of people get most of their news now from their
The
phone.
Gutfeld show's on Saturday.
Well,
Right?
from social
That's where I
media.
get my news.
Hello?
Just then.
But from social media, so they're getting it. The reason I think some of Hillary's poll numbers continue to go down is because it's not that people are necessarily watching our show, that we appreciate everyone who is watching our show. It's that if you release something on a Friday, that doesn't mean that it just goes away and no one ever hears about it. All weekend long, people are on their phone and they're checking, and it's more of an immediate response as well, and it sticks in your mind more so even than television commercials are finding. That's what the research is saying. So I think that this game of trying to release things on a Friday, it's over anyway. So retire it as a tactic.
But then again, they're also playing on the fact that because we have so much information that we will forget no matter what, which is somewhat true. I mean, the tragedies that would affect us for weeks, we move on in 48 hours.
Or something else happens over the weekend.
Exactly.
You know, 3-day weekends, a lot of things can happen, like a candidate actually being draped in a prayer cloth, which happened this past Saturday in Detroit, if you remember that.
Okay, but,
I was going to say that if there was something substantive in what had been released Friday, we would have it front and center, and we would still be talking about it, because I don't think anybody's dumb or not going to remember what was released if, in fact, she had done something terrible. Now,
but those
Just 13 devices.
I mean, it's suspicious. You can say, I can agree, it's suspicious or crazy, but it's not illegal. And anyway, what is illegal?
I mean, that's not enough.
Right, it's not, okay.
It's not illegal.
That she lied.
Look, that's what we're.
Break the law
I think that was the great hope, that she would get indicted and it would hamstring her campaign.
But it sounds like kind of a moral and ethical equivocation.
Look, I tell you where the media is falling down, and I think this is going to, cause all of you stomach agita, is nobody's talking about Trump actually paying a fine, actually having been found guilty of making a campaign contribution through his foundation that was in violation of the law. Nobody says a word.
Right.
Everybody thought,
well, in fact,
Hillary Clinton, low bar for Trump.
Juan,
once again.
due to the word count that I was keeping on you, we were talking so much, that actually was the second topic that we were running out.
Well, go right ahead.
No, you just talked about it.
We should talk about it. I don't understand.
We were talking about it.
I don't understand how he gets away with bankrupt casinos. He gets away with, not paying contractors, with Trump University being investigated, California, Florida, elsewhere, New York State. And nobody says a word.
Well, he says, hey, Hillary Clinton and your camp, release your emails and I'll release my tax returns.
Oh, my gosh. I just think it's a double standard. But again, I think Hillary Clinton's held to one standard. And then, Trump, if he just doesn't trip over his shoelace, everybody says, wow, he did pretty well.
I don't think so. I think he gets pretty readily attacked.
He wears loafers.
In the media on a regular basis.
It was a $25,000 donation, which was paid back. And you're talking about the Clinton Foundation that has raised somewhere around $1.5–2 billion.
Yeah, and done so much good.
Some of it being under questionable means. And,
look, as
ways.
you know, I think that a lot of the appearances, but Trump actually was found to have acted improperly, not just there, but in campaign contributions here in New York City to the City Council, to the New York State Legislature. This has been going on for decades.
Juan, I have a solution. Have Pam Bondi investigate Hillary.
Yeah, but besides
that,
let's keep in mind, poor Pam Bondi, who's a friend of mine. I mean, she's not somebody who's one of the state sponsors of terrorism or a country that supports Sharia law and crimes against gays and women. And, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Anyway, all right, that's the Clinton Foundation.